Welcome back to the garage, guys. Welcome back to Scooter Gang. For anybody new here, my name is Brian. I review electric rides, mostly scooters. Today we've got the Gleeride H7. This is an interesting scooter because it's a scooter that came out many years ago and has had a lot of names. We call this a rebrand or a clone. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad scooter. It's been a long time, personally, since I've ridden one of these. I had a Yumi Y10 that I put a couple thousand miles on. It was basically identical frame, but with 10-inch tires. They also made this in a lot of many brands. I'm not even gonna go into all the other brands, but Gleeride has rebranded it and added a lot of simple upgrades like more lights and stuff. It's up to you whether this is your style of scooter. Extra flashy, that's what I would call it. I think the main reason I got it in, we're gonna compare it to a name brand and give you like a rundown. How does a budget scooter like this, that's what I'll call it, a budget scooter, compare to a name brand scooter? How do we even distinguish between a name brand and a budget scooter anyways? We'll just go over that real quick. I think the name brands have been established for a long time and they put their own name on their scooter. This is a scooter that they have been making for a long time, but they don't put their own name on it. They allow anybody to put their name on it. You just pay a small fee, order a shipping container full of these, and you yourself could be a scooter company. That's how easy it is to do this. Is it a good thing? Yeah, it probably opens up a lot more companies into the scooter market that wouldn't otherwise exist. When you compare it side by side though, is it a company you want to buy from? I don't know. That's up to you, and you'll have to think about that. I'm just laying out all the facts here about this scooter so you can have a full opinion. A lot of people ride these clone rebrand scooters, get a couple years out of them, get their money's worth, and have a great enjoyable ride with it. That being said, right off the bat, you notice some stuff like this folding mechanism, which hasn't changed in years. Used all my tools, tightened everything down here that I could, even greased up everything that I could that's metal on metal, and you still get some just noises, right? And that's kind of what makes it a budget scooter. Like on paper, it may, like spec for spec, look really good compared to a name brand, but you're gonna have things like this. We're gonna go ride it here, do a little range test, and this is the type of scooter, like I'm not gonna invest time to ride 500 miles into this because it's already been ridden by a lot of other people and we already really know most of the flaws on this. It's a little bit noisy, a little squeaky, got enough power and get up that it'll get you around, but it's just not a perfect scooter. It's got some flaws. The lights on it to me are really a deal breaker. I don't think I could ever buy a scooter with blue brake lights. So when we get back, we're gonna try and fix that. See if we can at least make our tail lights red and our brake lights red by swapping a couple wires in here. So you will get to see inside the deck here when we get back, and we'll take a good look at this scooter. It's $14.99 right now on their website. Like I said, you can get a $1,500 name brand scooter that goes about the same speed. Might have a little less range, but it's not gonna have these sort of squeaking noises and stuff to it right out of the box. All right, we got our draggy today. Looks like perfect blue skies. We'll do a top speed and acceleration test on this thing while we're out. 60 volt, 30 amp hour. The range is gonna be around 25-30 miles, depending how fast we go. This has a little bit of awkwardness to it because this blinker sticks out so far. I've already kicked it a couple times. It's coming a little loose. But you kind of kick it when you stand up when you're not paying attention. Like, they might not like everything I'm gonna say in this video, but I'm gonna be dead honest with you guys about this scooter and how it rides. Let's try a little hill test first here. Let's just see how it does up the hill full battery, and then we'll do this at the end with the dead battery. Decently quick acceleration, I'm not gonna lie. We get up the big hill here, 35, 36. That's crushing it. So this scooter's got the power. It's got the power to be 1,500 bucks. But what about everything else, right? Let's see the brakes. These brakes are my least favorite brakes, I'll tell you that. They're called Die Island. People pronounce them a couple different ways. They are the weakest brakes that you can put on any of these as far as hydraulic brakes goes. And I got them back in the day on that Yumi I was talking about. Same thing, had it, and they were all right. They're decent on that, but that's a 35-mile-an-hour scooter. It's much slower. This, when you're going 45, you kind of wish you had more brakes on this thing. turn our headlights on. They're like blue too. That's a little weird to me that you got blue headlights and taillights on this. And it definitely came with this other giant like orange yellow taillight. I think it was like yellowish. And it just looked so weird. I had to take it off. I didn't even ride with that on one day. Like didn't even make it out of the box before I took that thing off. It's so weird. I don't know what they're thinking with these extra, just adding more lights on it like that, when they should just get rid of these lights and put better lights on, lights that actually like are really good at the purpose of what lights are for, which is helping you see. The brakes at least seem set up right on this. That other e-bike I just got, they're so far off of the rotor that you really only get like half your stopping power. This has the same brakes, these die islands, but it's just way, way worse. So at least on this, they feel like they've been properly aligned with the rotor, so they're making full contact. So it does brake well enough, even though it's my least favorite brakes. And that's something you can always, you could upgrade this to nut brakes and buy a full front and rear kit for about 125 bucks these days, and put the full kit on and not have any sort of issues with braking ever again. So yeah, if you buy a budget scooter like this, you can always put upgrades into it. It's definitely plenty of scooter to keep up with in traffic. You see me obviously keeping up here at 34, 35. That's what most cars drive at on a 25-mile-an-hour road. You need to be able to sustain at least 10 over to not make people angry. And this scooter's got plenty of power for that. So it's got the speed, it's got the power. The suspension on it is very firm. You can feel it. Doesn't have a lot of motion to it. Doesn't have a lot of compression, but it's also very stiff to where you hit bigger bumps, you feel it. It's not like the plushest suspension. Plus you're on these off-road tires that not only are they a little loud, but they're pretty hard when you got them fully blown up, compared to a road tire like a PMT or something. They would ride a lot smoother on this. So if you did get this scooter and you only ride on the road, you could swap out the tires and probably make the performance a lot better. But I don't know if I'm going to do all that for this scooter. It's just not quite worth all that effort and money when I'm just going to sell this. So, by the way, if anybody wants to buy this scooter, it's going to be for sale. I really just got this in to check up and see how these are compared to all the name brands, because it's been a couple years since I rode this thing. Rides decent, honestly. It rides decent, and for the price, it's pretty decent. I think, here, let's do a little speed run. There's nobody behind us, so we can line this up like this. Do a little speed run, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Not the most instant pickup there, but what do we get? 5.6, 0 to 30, 5.8, that's pretty good. So it's got the speed. It's got the speed. Did we get up to 50 as claimed? This will be our top speed run right here, basically. Little tailwind. We gotta slow down. Woo! What did we hit there? 51. We'll call that the top speed on this. I think with road tires, you could get a little bit smoother, and like I would trust that a lot more. These are not ideal tires for top speed runs, I'll tell you that. Picks right up though, where you don't feel worried about cars coming up behind you. So it's got just enough to keep up with traffic. 60 volt is really like the lowest that I would ride in traffic, and so it's doing pretty good. Let's take a left lane here. Oh, my foot just kicked the blinker again. It's kind of just like poor placement of the blinker, or it's too big, both. But that's something you could always swap that out for smaller, better blinkers too. this is one of those scooters that it's easy to mod, and I actually modified my old Yumi, put a vest controller in it, and made it pretty quick. It was a decently fun little thing after that. And same thing with this. You could put another controller in this and wire it up and have, Jesus, somebody's on fire up here. But you could wire this up with another controller and make it about 3 times as quick on the acceleration if you want. It corners all right, but this is definitely not a racing scooter. It never was, and it's for cruising. And it cruises pretty well, I will say that. Let's do a couple more runs here. We can use this spot, get a few more acceleration runs. I'm not gonna do top speed right here because this all is overgrown and you can't see very much. We can get our 0 to 30 here 4 more times though, I think. 3, 2, 1, go. Zero to 30 in 5.8. That's pretty decent. Pretty decent for how cheap the scooter is. .75. That was the best one yet. 5.89. Those are all right in the ballpark here. I think we're good on this. Just under 6 seconds, 0 to 30 on this scooter is quick. And for comparison, like a Mukata 10 Plus Awesome F1 Max is 5.5 seconds. That's what I tested that scooter at before. So this scooter is slightly slower, and you feel like right at takeoff there's not a lot of front wheel spin. Like most other scooters, it'd be peeling out a lot more. And it does have a little bit less acceleration than other 60-volt name brands, but it's right up there. You could call that right within the ballpark, being within half a second, 0 to 30. But if you line them up and were to race them, half a second's quite a bit. That's, you know, a good scooter length or 3 behind just to get up to 30. So you are smoking them with a name brand, but not everybody cares about who's winning, and it's not always a race, right? And if you're on a budget and you can get something like this for similar range and power as something else that's, you know, a bit more money, then for some of you it's worth it. And that's why I mainly did this review. Even though this is not really a scooter for me, I know it's going to be a scooter for some of you guys still even. And a lot of you guys that are on that budget, it's totally fine. This is gonna be your like first real hyper scooter, and you're gonna learn so much on this that it's gonna pay off immensely when you go to get your next scooter. And this is the perfect scooter to learn on for a year or two. Just don't expect it to last forever, because it's not the best build quality. It's average, and it's fine that way because it's not crazy overpowered. You're not gonna have hopefully a lot of overheating or melting issues, and it's tried and true. It's one of these things where they've sold probably millions of these things now, because there's all the different brands selling them, and all the different countries have their own different retailers, and they're all selling just a different version of the same thing coming from the same place. So really, it's tried and true, almost like no other brands are when you think about it. The cornering is sketchy, I will admit that. It's more of the tires than anything though. If we put road tires on this thing, it would corner a lot better than with these off-road tires. They're just like so knobby. You hear them so loud too. And if you guys know me, you know my opinion on off-roading on scooters is that they suck. They suck. They're too small wheels, and people that try and do it, you end up destroying your scooter really quickly. So to me, it's just like, put road tires on a scooter like this, you'll get way more out of it. Plus you get a lot more miles out of road tires too before they get messed up from uneven wear. There's just a lot of benefits to road tires that if you buy this scooter, you definitely should put road tires on it. That's because this suspension on it is not hydraulic. As far as I know, it's just springs. So you get this sort of reverberations coming through these tires because they're not radial tires. So there's no flex in the tread wall. And so literally you're feeling every bump as it goes through. A lot more than if you switch this to good tires. Like we need to find an officer and ask him about these lights on this thing. They're like crazy. Blue lights. It has to be illegal. He just pulled over there. He's gonna try and get us, but we're gonna go this way. Scooter moves. I think we got enough. We're gonna turn up the relive here. We've done about 5 miles right now, so we're just gonna add that to the counter. See if we can get up to 30 on this thing. We're at, it says we did 7 miles, but I know that ain't right. We're at 63 volts right now. It's pretty good at creeping. Comes a good railroad bump test. Let's hear it. It's alright. I give it a 7 out of 10. It's not like premium in any way, but it gets the job done. You know what I mean? Let's hit this. Hey, the squeaking is gone away. Let me test that for real while we're stopped. Haha! Victory! The oil we put in, the grease must have soaked in a little, and now we have a nice, quiet scooter. So, like I mean, a budget scooter, take a little more maintenance on stuff like that, just spraying grease and spots where another scooter would probably have a bearing in there and they wouldn't have this issue of metal on metal. Over time it may wear down and wear out eventually, but if you keep it greased, it'll at least be quiet, and keep it tight, it won't wear down as much as if you don't pay attention to it. So it is a scooter you got to pay a little bit of attention to, more so than a premium name brand. That's the thing, you're gonna be doing most of the work anyways on this, because this is not a service center for this place, and you're gonna have to get used to it, riding it and fixing it and riding it again and feeling if it feels better, or noticing when things get out of shape on it and you gotta fix it. This thing will last a while if you take care of it, but at the same time, I knew a 14-year-old in our city here named Caden, and when he had this scooter, he bought the Y11 like I was talking about. He ended up just doing, nice scooter, bro. He ended up doing a bunch of wheelies and all kinds of stuff on it to where it wouldn't ever come back to normal with maintenance because it was just destroyed. He destroyed a lot of parts on it. You can bend the rims on these if you come down on them too hard. You can bend the forks, destroy your front and rear end suspension. Like you can destroy this really quick if you wanted to. And that's just something you need to be aware of, is that this is not for an off-road jumping sort of, you know, stunt vehicle. This is to get from point A to point B and get there relatively quickly. It'll remain reliable, I think, if you just do that. You keep it on the path, on the pavement, and you take good care of it and pay attention to everything. This thing will last you couple of years, you know, if not more. I know some of these can go a long time if you keep replacing parts when they go out, and if the brand is still able to send you parts. A lot to think about on this, but I think for some of you it's probably still a great buy because you don't care about name brands. A lot of people don't care about name brands. They just want something that gets the job done, right? And that would be this H7. You know, we could show you guys a little off-road with this, I think. Let's see how well it can handle. I haven't been down here in a long time, so hopefully this trail's still decent. Brakes do okay, but I wish the suspension was a lot softer for off-roading. It would be a lot more comfortable. You really do get rattled around, jarred around in this quite a bit. But it is capable. It handles, the traction's there, can do it. Now, would you do this all the time for fun? Maybe. But what happens if you like go off the edge? Does it get sketchy? Yeah, it gets sketchy. And this trails are pretty skinny, and honestly, I think it's a lot easier to keep a wheel straight on this when it's a big mountain bike tire than it is a little scooter tire. But you can do it. Obviously, it makes it through. It's just not the smoothest way to get through the woods. Especially after that dirt bike thing I got a couple days ago. That is just really smooth. It's kind of janky, has its own issues, but really big dirt bike tires are just superior at going through the woods in every way. And if you were gonna do this all the time, you just buy a dirt bike, electric dirt bike, right? But say you just want to cut through every once in a while, come out here and see the trails that you don't get to see usually from walking because it's so far, then yeah, you can go exploring on this scooter for sure. It's definitely a good exploring scooter. Take this type of thing out camping, definitely be useful for getting around. Here's the off-road uphill test spot. Let's see if this can make it. It's not going to look steep on camera, but it is going up a ditch, straight up a ditch. So let's see if we got the power for this. Oh, yep. Oh, it struggled right at the end, but we got enough traction. Yeah, just enough power. You can take this to like mountain bike track, mountain bike parks, whatever. And you get through mountain bike trails, at least the black diamonds. The thing about them, when they start getting crazy, man, those mountain bike trails get too much for a scooter and the small tires just can't handle. But on flat stuff, man, what a beautiful day out here. We just cruise it wide open. They just trimmed all the brush. Let's go. We have made it down to Terry True Blood here. All right, we're down to 61 volts. 4.4 miles on there, plus about 5, so we're at about 9.4 miles at 61 volts. So we're about half at this point because around 59 is half, but you don't really want to go to 0 anyways. You want to be home at around 20%. So I would call this around half right now. And that means we double that on our way back. We're going to get about 20 miles on this scooter, but we will confirm when we get back home. I think we've talked about this scooter enough at this point. I'm just going to head back the way we came here and get us up to about 20 miles on this ride, see where the range is at for you guys, the inside of this scooter. And that'll be it for this review. It's interesting on this, it's got battery bars up here in the left too. Those are not going to be very accurate because if we're really at 61 volts right now, we are closer to 3 out of 5 than we are at 4 out of 5. And it's still saying 4 out of 5 right now, which that's a bit deceiving. We definitely don't have that much left after doing 9.5 miles. All right, guys, might be hard to see in the sun, but we've got 13.3 miles on the relive, plus about 5 to get downtown while we were recording on the draggy. So that's about 18 miles. We're down to 57.8 volts on the dash here, and the scooter's gotten really slow. So I want to do one more draggy top speed test here. Should be plenty of space. We'll see if we can get even up to 40. It feels like I can't even hit 40 right now. And we are at about 40% battery. So typically you'd have a bit less top speed right now, but this seems like a major drop off to me. So I just want to show that in the video that you do get a lot less power on this thing when it is lower battery. Nobody's coming. Let's get it. I didn't record it on the thing, so I'll just screenshot it at the end of this for you. Pretty slow. We're at about top speed now. It's saying 38. So when you're down on a low battery on this, you're only going to get 38 on flat, which means you might only get 25 going up this hill. Let's go do the hill test. Screenshot this so you guys can see that there, that we only hit 38 on that top speed test. All right, guys, let's check 56.2 volts. Let's see how bad this hill is now with an almost a dead battery here. Maybe 40% on the battery, 30% on the battery. Can we still sustain the speed limit up the hill? That's the question. Nobody's coming behind us. And we are slowing down. 25, 26. Ah! Hey! hey, it kept the speed limit. I'll give it that. It can sustain the speed limit up the biggest hill, even on a dead battery. But it is significantly slower when you get down to this type of voltage. And most scooters are. This one just seems to slow down a bit more than I'm used to. Probably has to do with the budget cells that are used in this compared to a name brand scooter. They have quite a bit more amps. All right, we ended up with 16 miles here, so that plus the 5, so we got about 21 miles out of the scooter. So it is a 20-mile scooter, but that leaves me questioning the battery size because it's supposed to be 30 amp hours, and this is performing more like the scooter I reviewed last week, which was a 20 amp hour scooter and gets about 20 miles. You would expect this to get about 30 miles out of the bigger amp hour battery, but it doesn't. So we're gonna open the deck, we'll take a look, see if it's even a 30 amp hour battery, what it looks like. Take a little closer look at the scooter before we wrap it up. Guys, we were able to follow back the wires from both these lights, swap them, and then I unplugged the blue ones because we don't need them. So now we have working red tail lights. So that's important. We still don't have tail lights actually at all on this thing because we unplugged this, but if we plug them in, then it's just flashing blue.